What up, y'all? It's your boy, Mr. Downtown Ray Melo, and you're listening to the Entertainment Report on iHeartRadio, live from Orlando, Florida for Friday, June 15th, 2018, delivering some major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, facebook.com/Entertainment Report with Ray Melo, that's RAYMELO, on Twitter or on Instagram at the Entertainment Report. You can listen to the show anytime you want on iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeart.com, via iHeart phone app, search for the Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to the page. Brie Larson called for more film critics of color in a speech at the 2018 Women's in Film Crystal Plus Lucy Awards. The 28-year-old actress demanded more diversity in film's reviews while accepting the Crystal Award for Excellence in Film at the awards show Wednesday in Beverly Hills, California, according to USA Today. Larson cited a new study from the University of Southern California's Annenberg Inclusion Initiative, which found 76% of top critics in 2017 were male. Only 2.5% of top critics in 2017 were women of color. Larson said, "I don't need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him. I want to know what it means to women of color, biracial women, to teen women of color." She qualified, "Am I saying I hate white dudes? No, I am not. What I'm saying is if you make a movie that is a love letter to women of color, there is an insanely low chance of women of color will have a chance to see your movie and review your movie." Larson announced the Sundance Film Festival and at the Toronto International Film Festival have pledged 20% of their credentials for minorities, according to Variety. She commended women in film for having diverse guests at the ceremony, but challenged publicists and, quote, decision makers to create a more inclusive industry. The star said, "Please make sure that these invites and credentials find their way to more unrepresented journalists and critics, many of whom are freelancers." Larson is known for such films as Room and Kong Skull Island. She'll star as Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, in the upcoming Captain Marvel movie. The first 90-second trailer for The Nun has gotten more than 2.5 million views since Warner Brothers Pictures released it on YouTube Wednesday. Set for theatrical release on September 7th, the supernatural horror movie is the latest installment in the Conjuring universe, which also includes two Annabelle blockbusters. Corin Hardy directed the film, which is about a priest with a haunted past and a relative about to take her final vows, who are sent by the Vatican to investigate the apparent suicide of a young nun at a cloister abbey in Romania, a synopsis says. The origin story of the demonic nun introduced in The Conjuring 2 stars Dominic Beecher, Tassia Farmiga, Jonas Blechted, Charlotte Hope, Ingrid Basu, and Bonnie Aarons. Robert Pattinson says it was really fun to film his first comedy, Damsel. The 32-year-old British actor discussed the movie Wednesday while attending the Los Angeles premiere with co-star Mia Wasikowska. Pattinson, who wore a striped black suit, told Entertainment Tonight Damsel was a departure from his more serious films. He said of the comedy, it was really fun. I really wanted to do one of it for ages. I mean, I've played a lot of series psychopaths, but so I thought I'd play a funny psychopath. Damsel is a Western that follows a pioneer played by Pattinson as he ventures across the frontier with the love of his life, played by Wasikowska. Pattinson said, "Most Westerns, the archetype lead cowboy is someone who's they can handle anything and it's them against the world and they come to save the damsel, but pretty much every single male character in this film is completely inept." He added, "They think they're trying to save the damsel, but actually they're incapable of anything at all. They're incapable of saving themselves." Pattinson is known for the Twilight movies and such films as The Rover and Good Time. He previously discussed Damsel in an interview with Deadline in February. He says, "There aren't that many Western comedies. I found it strange and felt like abstract versions of a comedy. It appeals to me in the same way as a drama." Damsel is directed by Nathan and David Zendler and opens in theaters on June 22nd. Billy Bob Thornton says he's happy to spend a few years playing the troubled but fundamentally decent attorney at the heart of Amazon's Goliath. The 62-year-old Arkansas native said in an interview with UPI, "If you asked me 5 years ago, I would have said no way in hell. Now it sounds amazing to me." He says, "I've never had a situation this perfect in terms of my career because I have a family and we will shoot in town and I'm on it for half a year. that allows me to do a movie, make a record, tour, and be with my family a lot. Should an irresistible film role requires him to work outside Los Angeles, the married father of four says he takes his loved ones with him on location, but not when he tours with his rockabilly band, the Boxmasters, in which he sings and plays drums. He says, a rock and roll bus is no place for the family. Created by David E. Kelly, Goliath follows Thornton's hard-drinking Billy McBride as he represents a client against a corrupt, powerful institution each 8-episode season. Season 2 begins streaming Friday. Director Rob Reiner, a strong believer that democracy depends on holding powerful people accountable, has long wanted to make a movie about the Iraq War. 15 years after the U.S. invasion, his Shock and Awe debuted Thursday on DirecTV. He tells the story of the Knight Rider journalist who investigated the motives behind the U.S. invasion of Iraq after the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. Woody Harrelson, James Marsden, and Tommy Lee Jones stars reporter Jonathan Landy, Warren Strobel, and Joe Galloway. Reiner plays their editor, John Walcott. The film follows the teams as it questions U.S. President George W. Bush's plan to attack Iraq in 2003 based on alleged intelligence suggests Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein possessed weapons of mass destruction. None was ever found. The reporters working in the Washington Bureau doggedly worked to uncover the truth as competing media outlets published the White House's claims without evidence. The Knight Rider team says in the film they felt a responsibility to their readers in areas of the country where families were sending loved ones off to war and deserve to know why. Reiner told UPI in an interview Tuesday they were fighting against some very strong headwinds, and they were the only ones and that got it right. Reiner, who is 71 now, but was of a draft age during the Vietnam War, said he wanted for years to make a movie about the George W. Bush administration's actions in the days of 9/11. He says, I couldn't believe that twice in my lifetime we're sending kids to war based on lies. I could see it happen. It's like watching your kid run into the street and feeling helpless to stop him from being hit by a truck. We ask our leaders to not send our kids into harm's way unless they have a real rationale for doing that. Maria Bamford, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Eddie Pepitone, Scott Adsit, and Mac Bronger are confirmed as guest stars for Season 3 of IFC's horror comedy Stand Against Evil. The third season is filming now in Atlanta, and the first of its 8 episodes is to debut October 31st, Halloween night. Created by comedian Dana Gold, the show stars John C. McGinley as the grouchy retired New Hampshire Police Sheriff Stan Miller, and Janet Varney as Eve Barrett, his perky replacement. Together they team up to ride their town, Willard's Mill, of the various demons and monsters that wreak havoc there. Deborah Baker Jr. and Nate Mooney return as Stan's daughter Denise and Deputy Leon Drinkwater, respectively. David Koechner will also return in the guest starring role as Kenny, Eve's ex-husband. Jurassic Park alum Jeff Goldblum was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on Thursday. Goldblum, who's 65, received the 2,638th star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame during a ceremony in front of the Hologram USA Theater in Los Angeles a week before the release of his latest film, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Goldblum opened his speech by quizzing the crowd about previous Walk of Fame honorees before wondering aloud how to appropriately celebrate Jeff Goldblum Day. He says, get liquored up and then all go to my house for a pool party. He went on to thank his co-stars, directors, crew members, and his family before closing his speech by improvising lyrics to the Jurassic Park theme. Goldblum told Variety before the ceremony, I feel like I'm on the brink of my best stuff. I'm still learning new things every day. Things seem to be getting better and better. Goldblum's career began in the 1970s with roles in films such as Annie Hall and Invasions of the Body Snatchers. He went on to star in the remake of The Fly in 1986, earning critical acclaim for his performance. In the 90s, Goldblum appeared in blockbuster films such as the original Jurassic Park and the subsequent sequels, and Independence Day in 1996. Ed Begley Jr., who appeared with Goldblum in 1985's Transylvania 65000, and Norm Eason, an ethics czar for former U.S. President Barack Obama, who inspired Goldblum's character in 2014's The Grand Budapest Hotel, spoke on his behalf during the ceremony. Eisen says he's not only played a deeply ethical individual in that film, but he's that same person in real life, kind, generous, a wonderful friend, and above all else, deeply moral. Cena is open to having kids with Nikki in the wake of their split. The 41-year-old WWE star had a change of heart about children in a preview for Sunday's episode of Bella's E-series Total Bellas. He told Bella, "I can't have you out of my life ever. I want to marry you. Relationship and marriage especially is about sacrifice, and I will make that sacrifice for you. I will give you a child." Bella ended her engagement to Cena in April after 5 years of dating, in due part to his refusal to have kids. She stressed how important having a family is to her in the episode. The 34-year-old television personality said, "I see the point of having kids after you've been with someone for so long." She told Cena, "I feel like there's so much more I want to do with you and experience with you. It's just wanting to be a mom and knowing that you will not be a dad. I've just come to the realization that I'm not okay with that." Bella and Cena have yet to confirm their relationship status, although TMZ reported the pair were spotted at dinner Tuesday in San Diego. Bella's rep told E! News this month the pair are taking their relationship day by day. The rep says Nikki Bella and John Cena are working on their relationship. They appreciate all their fans and their continued support. Gisele Bündchen says Tom Brady's proposal is the most romantic thing he's ever done. The 37-year-old Brazilian model said in a 73 Questions interview with Vogue that the NFL star filled her apartment with candles and rose petals before popping the question. Bündchen recounted, "When he proposed to me, he made up this whole story about how my apartment was flooding, and I ran over there to try to fix the situation. When I got there, the whole apartment had candles and rose petals everywhere." She said he went down on his knees to propose, and I like, "Get up," because he just had surgery and had 3 staph infections. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I gotta go on my knees." I'm like, No, get up, please." And here we are. Bündchen married Brady in Santa Monica, California in February 2009 and have since welcomed son Benjamin and daughter Vivian with the New England Patriots quarterback. She shared her best marriage advice in an interview. Star advised keeping open and loving communication. Gregg Leakes says her husband is battling cancer. The 50-year-old television personality shared a photo of Gregg Leakes on Wednesday following his cancer diagnosis. The picture showed Gregg Leakes sitting in a chair at the MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston. A computer screen with the word cancer crossed that can be seen in the snapshot. Leakes captioned the post, "Are normal and the fight begins. Hashtag MD Anderson Cancer Center. Hashtag you got this. Hashtag I love you." She canceled her stand-up shows in May due to her husband's health issues. She said he had been hospitalized for over 2 weeks, although she did not detail his condition at the time. The star told fans, "Today marks the 15th day straight that Gregg has been in the hospital. I find it very difficult to stand on stage and laugh and have a good time knowing that my husband's in the hospital not feeling well." She says Gregg will be out of the hospital this week. He will be stronger, he will be better, and we will be out there doing this show again in no time. The Real Housewives of Atlanta star remarried Gregg Leakes in June 2013 after splitting in 2010. The couple are parents to 19-year-old son Brent. Meghan Markle and Queen Elizabeth II were all smiles during their first joint outing. The 36-year-old Duchess of Sussex stepped out with Queen Elizabeth on Thursday in Cheshire, England. Markle married the Queen's grandson, Prince Harry, in May. Markle, who wore a beige pencil dress with cape top, and the Queen, who sported a floral dress and green coat, visited Mersey Gateway Bridge. The pair met with architects, planners, and other members of the community, according to People. Kensington Palace tweeted at the opening at Mersey Gateway Bridge, the Duchess of Sussex joined the Queen to watch a performance by local school children. Markle and Elizabeth's next stop was the Story House in nearby Chester. The pair watched a performance from the Fallen Angels Dance Company and heard songs from a production of A Little Night Music. Kensington Palace tweeted, "In the main floor at Story House live the Queen and the Duchess of Sussex sits to view a performance of Drop in the Ocean, hashtag Royal Visit Cheshire." Markle and Harry tied the knot May 19th at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. The couple will make an official visit to Australia, Fiji, the Kingdom of Tonga, and New Zealand in the fall. Chad Michael Murray isn't happy with Sophia Bush's remark about their marriage. The 36-year-old actor issued a statement through his rep after Bush, his ex-wife and former One Tree Hill co-star, said their wedding was a stupid decision she felt pressured to make. The rep told People, "The story is ludicrous. Chad conducted himself in a completely professional manner and would never marry for any reason but love." The rep added, 13 years since his divorce from Sophia, he has a very happy family life with his wife and children. He has completely moved on and doesn't feel the need to engage in this type of behavior. Murray and Bush, who played Lucas Scott and Brooke Davis on One Tree Hill, split in September 2005 after 5 months of marriage. Bush discussed their marriage on Wednesday's episode of Sirius XM's Andy Cohen Live. The star said, "Everybody's been 22 and stupid. It was not a thing I actually really wanted to do." Bush said she felt an obligation to the One Tree Hill cast and crew. She explained, "Because how do you let everybody down? And what's the fight when you have bosses telling you that you're the only person who gets a person to work on time and 200 people either get to see their kids at night or they don't because our days start on time?" Murray married Sarah Romer in January 2015 and shares 2 children, a son and a daughter, with the actress. Paris Jackson personally removed graffiti from a Hollywood Walk of Fame of her father, Michael Jackson. A 20-year-old daughter of the late singer took action after someone defaced a plaque belonging to an 84-year-old radio host with her dad's name. The model actress posted a slideshow Wednesday on Instagram with the star in question. The photo shows the before and after effect of her work. She captioned the post, "Some people have no respect. I understand that there is a difference between the radio emblem and the record, but a name is a name." Paris further explained her motivations on Twitter after a fan praised her for taking action. The star wrote, "I was at a friend's house apartment that lives basically next door this morning, and another buddy of mine said he saw this last night. Apparently it's not his actual star, but hey, that's still his name." She added, "I don't think it was intentionally targeted at him, but to me, a name is a name, and I couldn't hear about it and not go see it for myself." Paris's dad died at the age of 50 in June 2009. The actress has since gotten a number of tattoos in his honor and paid tribute to the singer on what would have been his 59th birthday in August. She says, "I will never feel love again the way I did with you. You are always with me, and I'm always with you. Though I'm not you, and you're not me, I know with all my being that we are one, and our souls will never change in that way." Grammy Award-winning guitarist Jose Feliciano donated the guitar he used in his iconic 1968 performance of the Star-Spangled Banner to the National Museum of American History during a ceremony Thursday that included the naturalization of 20 new U.S. citizens. Feliciano played the Concierto Candelas guitar during his controversial performance of the anthem at Detroit's Tiger Stadium during the World Series. The National Museum of American History said in its release announcing his donation, his personalized slow Latin jazz performance drew attention, both positive and negative. Feliciano's rendition was the first to attract national attention to a new way of rendering the anthem and preceded the attention Jimi Hendrix attracted for his 1969 Woodstock performance. Born September 10, 1945 in Lares, Puerto Rico, Feliciano moved with his family to New York City when he was 5 years old. He was born with congenital glaucoma, which left him blind. Showing an early interest in music, his father bought him a guitar. Feliciano recording of the national anthem, spent 5 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 50. He later earned accolades for his version of Light My Fire and the Christmas song Feliz Navidad. He has recorded more than 60 albums over the course of his career. He earned a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1987 and a Billboard Latin Music Lifetime Achievement Award in 1996 and a Latin Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2011. In addition to the guitar, Feliciano donated his touring performance stool, a Braille writer he used, a personalized pair of sunglasses, and an embroidered letter from a fan in Japan. He used the guitar to again perform the Star-Spangled Banner at the ceremony, this time in celebration of the naturalization of 20 people hailing from 17 countries. He gave the keynote address at the event. Paul McCartney is to appear in a Carpool Karaoke segment of The Late Late Show with James Corden next week. The nighttime chat show is usually taped in Los Angeles, but next Monday through Thursday, episodes will be broadcast from Central Hall, Westminster in London. McCartney will be seen giving his fellow Briton Corden a tour of his hometown of Liverpool as they sing some of the former Beatles hits in the pre-recorded video. CBS did not indicate on which night McCartney's segment would run, but Corden certainly seemed excited about it. The comedian tweeted Thursday alongside a photo of him hugging McCartney in front of a car. "I can't wait for you all to see this. It was a day that will live with me forever." The show will also include sketches from Jurassic World and Guardians of the Galaxy actor Chris Pratt and appearances by guests Damian Lewis, J.J. Abrams, Ruth Wilson, Cher, Kate Blanchett, Orlando Bloom, Noel Horan, and the Food Fighters. And now let's take a look at what happened on this date in entertainment history. On this date in 1945, Judy Garland marries Vincent Minnelli. On this date in 1945, the 23-year-old actress and singer Judy Garland marries the director Vincent Minnelli, her second husband. The couple had one daughter, the actress and singer Liza Minnelli. Garland was born Frances Gumm in 1922 in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Her parents ran a movie theater. At the age of 3, Frances joined her 2 older sisters in a vaudeville act called the Gumm Sisters that performed before the movie presentation. Brother later took them to the vaudeville circuit, where they were eventually renamed the Garland Sisters. Although the girls weren't especially well received as a vaudeville act, Frances, now known as Judy Garland, drew the attention of MGM's production head Louis B. Mayer. He signed her to a contract when she was 13 years old. 2 years later, she made the first of her 9 films with Mickey Rooney. Garland became a star in 1939 with The Wizard of Oz, in which she played Dorothy, a role she originally intended for Shirley Temple. In the film, she performed the plaintive ballad Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which would become one of her signature songs. Garland also delighted audiences in other movie musicals, including Strike Up the Band 1941, For Me and My Gal 1942, and Meet Me in St. Louis 1944. In 1941, at the age of 19, Garland married the band leader David Rose, but their marriage broke up in 1945. She met Minnelli, who was also married at the time, when he directed her in Meet Me in St. Louis. Minnelli was born in Chicago in 1903 and, like Garland, entered show business while as a toddler, performing at a family act. He dropped out of school at the age of 16 and became a costume designer and stage manager for the live acts that preceded films shown at a Chicago theater chain. He later moved to New York, eventually becoming an art director at Radio City Music Hall. He began directing Broadway musicals in 1935 and moved to Hollywood in 1940, where MGM hired him as a film director. While they were together, Garland and Minnelli worked together on The Clock 1945 and The Pirate 1948. Their daughter Liza was born in 1946, and the marriage lasted until 1951. Minnelli went on to direct Oscar-winning films that included American in Paris, 1951, The Bandwagon, 1953, and Gigi, 1958. He also directed Father of the Bride, 1950. Garland had used amphetamines and sleeping pills since adolescence, and her dependence on drugs and alcohol eventually undermined her career, led to several nervous breakdowns and suicide attempts. Her third husband, Sid Luft, managed her comeback in the early 1950s, booking her in triumphant live engagements in London and New York. Garland won an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress for A Star is Born in 1954, but her downward spiral resumed in the 1960s, and she died of an overdose of sleeping pills on June 22, 1969, at the age of 47. And that is your entertainment report for Friday, June 15th, 2018. I'm your host, Mr. Downtown Ray Melo. I'll be back on Monday to deliver some major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Melo. That's RAYMELO. On Twitter at The Enter Report, or on Instagram at The Entertainment Report. You can listen to this episode or any previous episodes of The Entertainment Report anytime you want on iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeart.com or your iHeart phone app, search for The Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to the page. Everyone have a great Father's Day weekend. Good night, and God bless you all.